Another pretty important point in analyzing the narrative is what kind of story we're dealing with. And you can see that already in the first sort of couple of scenes, or first couple of lines, or first couple of pages. And there are basically three types. If a film or a story starts with discussion, with like the sounds of voices, that effect, or the effect of this, is that the story will probably be a lot about the opinions of people, what people think, what they do, their perspectives. While if a character is put into the descriptive spotlight, and we learn a lot about a character, and there's a big exposition, like a big piece of information about the character, that is probably like a personal development story. The story is about the character's traits and ideas and emotions and experiences, right? And then the third type would be that the story starts with activity. And then that activity is really important. There's like a certain event and characters are involved in that event. So it's much more action focused. Now let's take examples for each of the three. The last one is easiest. That is like our Marvel age these days, right? Let's take Avengers 2, The Age of Ultron. The first scene, the first maybe 50 minutes is about fighting. We have all the Avengers like in some forest fighting, using their skills. So we know, okay, the film is about the Avengers fighting. In that case, Hydra. Or their product, Ultron. Well, not really their product, but they're getting the Loki staff, and then Tony makes or builds Ultron. But anyway, the film is about fighting, that we get very clearly. There is lots of action, so that works. Now, the second type, let's take Disney's Moana. Moana is a lovely story of a Polynesian girl sort of saving the world a bit. And at the beginning, we see her as a young girl going to the sea and being given some magical stone. And then we see her like fixing a roof. We see her being there for the community, being very sporty. So the film is about Moana. It's about her personal development. It's about her doing her thing, basically. It's a wonderful story, but it's all about her. So that perfectly makes sense. And this first part, this sound of voices, talking, discussion kind of thing, that is more rare. In fact, one of my top favorite films is like this, American Beauty. It's a fairly old film, but it starts a bit with, we see like a scene, sort of like a drone sort of, perspective on a suburb, on an American suburb, and the person narrates. That's the protagonist, and he says something like, the bumper sticker, this is the first day of the rest of your life, and well, this is the day where I died. And then we get his story. And this film is a lot about him and his wife and his daughter, and the daughter and his, boyfriend that she's getting in the film. But it's a bit of a darker kind of film. Not a thriller, but just a bit darker. It's a bit about, it's a lot about strong emotions, about conflict, about what is going on in your mind. So people talk. The whole film is about talking and reflecting, which I think is wonderful. There are a few films that are like this and that are really fascinating. That is one of them. So this shows you a lot what kind of story it is. Is it a story about people talking, about personal development, about thoughts, about reflection? Is it a story that is all about action? Or is it a story that is about a person developing and getting chances to develop? So that is definitely something we have to keep in mind. Now there is one more bit to go, and that is suspense.